Good afternoon. Happy fall, or not fall, but certainly non-summer. It's a nice break that we're looks like we're probably not going to hit 100 again this year. Wouldn't that be great? This is our 9th meeting of the year. If you all would rise and just take a few minutes to visit with those Rotarians and guests around you. By the way, Eric's walking around with raffle tickets for those interested in participating in a raffle today. How are you? Surviving. Getting there. All right, please return to your seats and remain standing for the invocation and the pledge by past President Paul PIROK.
Thank you, President Jeff. Before we all pray together, I want you all to think about our friend and fellow member, Howard Parker. Howard has been ailing, and he's been moved to the skilled nursing portion of, I guess it's Edgemere where he lives. So it's not looking real good for Howard. He's 93, and his body's just kind of shutting down on him. So if you all would pray for Howard and his family this week, I would appreciate that. Do we have any other concerns?
I would also ask to lift up Lynn Searle, because he's really close friends with Howard, and he's really torn up.
Thanks, Jeff. And you remember, you got to pay for Joyce. So any concerns?
I'm just concerned about water for the people in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah. That is a bad situation. My wife is from not that far from there. So. Okay, well let's bring all this to the Lord. Dear God, we thank you for our many blessings. We're blessed to be able to meet like this and to exchange ideas freely. We're blessed with the abundance of time and treasure that we can share with others. We thank you for the sunshine and for the rain, for the day and for the night. We are truly blessed. Dear God, help us to listen to you and what you would have us do. Help us to listen to those around us especially those with whom we might not agree. Keep us open to other opinions. Help us lead and nurture others in your works. Help us to be more patient. Help us to communicate effectively and without rancor. You created us all differently for a reason, and let us celebrate those differences. We ask all these things so that we can do your work more effectively. And again, we thank you for our many blessings. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. You join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have music or...
All right, it's that time till we get to express our joys and happy bucks. Where's the container? There. Let me start that off. I am so happy that football season has arrived.
I'll echo an amen for football season, and I'm very happy today because today I am celebrating 33 years, the best decision I ever made in my life, to marry my wife.
I just want to say I just paid my dues. Thank you. This is for the ponies. I want to wish them the best football season possible, and I want to extend my condolences to the University of Longhorn as they play Alabama this weekend.
Any other joys? All right, thank you. It's time for introduction of guests. If there are any guests in the room, please stand and introduce yourself.
I'm going to introduce Tony Jeary in just a minute, but he has some people with him that I'm going to ask him to introduce. So, Tony, you take it away.
Thank you. This is Daniel, my protege and partner. Everybody say hi to Daniel.
Also a Rotarian, by the way.
That's right. Yeah, and tell me, what's you brought the flag?
Yeah, well, I brought a flag for y'all.
Oh, nice.
Have an exchange?
All right.
Where's Lori?
How do we do it?
Exchange. I didn't know about it.
Let's take a click. You got it?
I didn't mean to do it on here. It's all me. No, come on up.
How this works. Katie and Brady, you guys want to say hi? And then where's Daniel at? Joseph? Where's Joseph? And then Joseph is our session manager. Glad to be here, guys.
And that was a pretty anemic applause for Daniel. We need to do better than that. Come on.
Hi, I have my guest with me again today for the third time, and she has made her application to join our club. Please welcome Mary Ann.
So I have my guest Steve York. He's the Executive Vice President of a San Antonio bank that's moving to Dallas, Broadway Bank. So his first visit, we've been trading emails, and he finally made it. So please welcome our visitor.
Any other guests?
Yeah, right here we've got Isaac Newton. He comes from, he's a guest of Nolan, and please make him feel welcome.
Please join me in welcoming back to the club my wife, Sue Patton. We'll ailing back here, but please welcome Sue. Thank you.
Any more guests? Great, thanks for being here, y'all. Next up's Kathy Wall to talk about our foundation, to be followed by Patsy Watson talking about our PCR marketplace advertising.
Real quick, can all our birthdays stand up? Bob Patton, you've already had a birthday on the 2nd, and so did Dean, September 4th. So Scott McLaughlin, Tanya Broughton, Mary Bishop, Jill Jordan, if anybody I missed, please stand up. Happy birthday. This is a reminder to stop by my table and give me at least $100 or more. This is for our club's foundation, which is doing wonderful things. Happy birthday. We're glad y'all made it.
Today's marketplace advertiser is Kyle Marmillion with the Marsh McLennan Agency. In a time when we faced unprecedented challenges, Rotarians have had to embrace the abnormal and deliver messages of strength, vulnerability, and resiliency. Like the Rotary Club of Park Cities' drive to make a positive impact in the community, Marsh McLennan Agency is driven by a passion to be there for our clients, colleagues, and communities in the moments that matter. As a full-service insurance brokerage, we work closely with the North Texas business community to develop comprehensive programs and solutions to meet their business insurance and employee health and benefits needs. MMA combines the personalized service model of a local consultant with the global resources of the world's leading professional services firm, Marsh McLennan. For more information, please reach out to Kyle Marmillion. I assume he's here. Hi, Kyle, right over there. Directly to have a discussion about how MMA can be a valuable partner to you and your business. Now, I don't have a hub with me. If you have a hub, look over and you can see his ad on the back for his agency. And I really want to give applause to Kyle for supporting our hub advertising. Thank you.
All right, Daniel, can you come back up? We're going to do the right way here and give you our flag. All right, thank you, appreciate it. Glad you're here. Christine Volkmer will come up and give us her new member speech, to be followed by past President Cleve Clinton and Legacy Leadership.
Hi, thank you all so much for including me and letting me be part of your fabulous club. Wanted to it's interesting when you do something like this, my antenna goes up, and at that table where I'm sitting, we talked about women being included for the first time in Rotaries in 1989. I heard in the invocation diversity and inclusion and accepting those with whom you disagree. It amazes me, because what I wanted to tell you is that when I joined this club, I started visiting. It was really, a business venture. It was my representation for the nonprofit I work for, eQuest, and my natural ability to network and whatnot. And I have to tell you that growing up in San Antonio, in the middle fifth of 7 children, big Catholic family, Broadway National Bank was the first bank account I opened at 18. Nacogdoches and 410 right there. And so I left San Antonio in the middle of this big family feeling like the square peg that never fit, for lots of reasons. And I knew when I moved to Dallas, I came up here to go to the University of Dallas. So you have to remember, from kindergarten all the way through college, I had this very rigorous Catholic education. In high school in San Antonio, I went to Ursuline, and their motto is Serviam, to serve. And so I really have always had that heart of service, which drew me into a career that was largely about education, children, often working with those who were marginalized or felt like they didn't fit. I taught English as a second language at North Dallas High School here for 5 years, taught at Brookhaven and taught at Richland, and loved that part of my career until I was fried. I was so tired having to work 2 jobs to put food on the table. And so I left that and went into a public relations career, where my tagline was to tell a story, create a story worth telling. And in the PR business, it can get a little smarmy, get a little slimy, get a little weird. And I managed to bypass that and create some amazing relationships with media. So I'm gonna tell you a really fast version of my greatest moment in the PR business. And that was that I had the privilege of pitching Heifer International. You probably get their little catalog at Christmas, right, with goats and ducks, but you give somebody that for Christmas, right? And so I'd been tracking Nicholas Kristof, who's a New York Times writer. His wife wrote the book Women Hold Up Half the Sky. And so a lot of their work was around the marginalization of women in third world countries. And so I had pitched several stories. New York Times ran a couple. And then that book came out, and I realized that one of the women that he included in that book was one of the Heifer International women who had received services and had an amazing story to tell. So I figured he's going to be on Oprah. So I called the producer I knew at Oprah, and I said, hey, I know you're probably going to interview Nicholas Kristof. Why, yes, we are. I said, I bet you don't know that there's probably only one person he included in that book who lives here in the US, and I can get her to you. And they said, oh, yay. So I went to that woman and I said, hey, what do you think about being on Oprah? She said, I'm trying to finish my PhD. I was like, oh my God. Okay, I'll give you a day or two to think about it. So without having to really twist her arm, she finally saw the light. And so we put Tara Trent on Oprah, and it was really beautiful, because her vision was, if you have a vision, if you have a dream, hang on to it. And this is a woman that lived in Zimbabwe, in one of the poorest areas you can imagine, was married off at 12, had 5 kids by the time she was 19. But all she wanted was an education. So she wrote down her little dream. She put it in a tin can, pressed it, and buried it. So fast forward, she finally makes it to the US. She gets her PhD that she's working on when the story breaks, and she goes to Oprah. So a few weeks later, Heifer had a massive change in leadership. They cut all their contractors, and that story that I had told for 10 years was like kaput. I cried for days and days. So that happened in November. In January, February, Oprah did her very last show. And the week leading up, she captured all of her favorite stories. I almost fell off the couch when she brought Tara out and said, I gotta tell you, my favorite story of all times is Tara Trent, because this is the power of a vision, this is the power of a dream. And I thought, oh my God, you know, I didn't want to take credit for it, but I was like, wow, all the little connections that happen to bring that thing forward, you never know. So I love that part of my beingness, my connectivity, and that's the spirit that I bring here to all of you. I'm also very aware that I had this preconceived notion in my head that, well, the Park Cities Rotary Club's really conservative, and you know, it's Park Cities, and so I stand here to tell you that I live a very different life in a time in the 90s when you really had to fly under the radar. So I had 3 little kids very soon after college. I was just unconscious. And so my marriage ended. My ex, Chris VOLKMER, is an amazing attorney, a great man, and we just were very young, irresponsible, crazy. And so that marriage blew apart, and right in that same time frame, I met my soulmate, and this person also has 3 little boys. This person happens to be a woman, and we've been together for 30 years. And legally married for 5 years, but we raised a passel of 6 boys from 5 to 13 at the time, all the way through. The youngest just turned 36. 5 of those 6 are married, and they have produced, are you ready? 11 boys. All boys. And they are the absolute delight of my life. I know what to do with boys. I've raised them. I've sat on bleachers. Now, mind you, I was the ballerina. I wanted tutus and recitals, and all I got was soccer and football and basketball and very, very, very smelly laundry room a long time. So I do love that I can stand here and tell you that story and not be afraid. I can tell you in 1994, I was terrified. I didn't want to lose my teaching job. I didn't want to, lose that. And I stand here knowing that I reach out for dollars every day for eQuest, the nonprofit that I do development work for. And I realize my desire to be included is just like those little kids that get on the back of the horse who are in wheelchairs. My desire, like all of us, is to realize that we all have a little bit of square peg trying to get in a round hole, and that we matter, right? We matter, our vision matters, what you all do here as Rotarians matters, and I'm happy to be a part of that, so thank you.
That was great. I really appreciate it. In fact, I underscore a couple of things that you pointed out, which is Rotary has changed a lot in the last 30 or 40 years, and it continues to change. And I'd like to suggest to everybody here that we as a club are changing and maybe even leading the charge in some respects. I'm here to remind you that we are taking applications for Legacy of Leadership, and at the head table you'll see probably most of our top guides, either current or immediately past, from Legacy of Leadership. We started this effort more than 5 years ago. This will be the 5th year we're doing it. Paul PIROK, Barb Jeffries, Richard Sanders, Saffers, Jill Jordan, and Nolan Duck. Nolan's here our speaker today in large part is kind of the continuation of what we're going to do. A Legacy of Leadership with Barb and Nolan's idea is building on its alumni base, and the alumni base is something that we're going to continue as we go forward. We're finding that group creates community. It creates basically pledge classes, if you will, of different ages and stages of folks, and those pledge classes, as I've come to call them, perhaps there's undoubtedly a better name, but nonetheless, the ex-cohorts, now alumni, are really create the fiber of the club. They're the backbone of our club, and they're creating a completely different approach, I think, to how we do servant leadership, which is what Nolan's all about and what we're going to be hearing more about as well. So I would urge you to go to the website, find an application, sign up, apply for the next Legacy of Leadership. I promise it'll be worthwhile. And we'll enjoy your company, and you'll enjoy ours. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Thanks, Cleve. Appreciate that. A couple quick announcements. Remember a few weeks ago you got an email to sign up for teams. It's real important to sign up so the team leaders knows who's going to be part of their team this year so they can reach out to them whenever they have events coming up. Next week, there's a 9/11 Memorial Heroes Run, and Evan ALTEMUS is our leader in the military division of our club, and they need volunteers. So on your hub, there was a place or a link to sign up, and they really need some help for next Saturday. District 5810 is doing a fellowship event on September the 20th. It's the first time they've ever done it. They're trying to create some cohesiveness with the different groups around the area, so they're doing a fellowship event. That also is, there's some information, details. It's at the 12 Cuts Brazilian Steakhouse. It'll be from 5 to 7:30. Another reminder, September 25th, we have the Cowboys VIP Tour and Dinner. You've been getting information on it. It's going to be a great event. They've also got folks from the Dallas Club joining us as well. So it's that time to do a drawing for our raffle for this week's winner. For those that don't know, we do a raffle each week, and at the end, if your raffle ticket gets drawn, you will come up and draw a card out of a deck of cards. If you draw the ace of spades, you'll win half the pot, and that number is, it was 608 coming into today. So let's just say it's somewhere between 650 and 700. Anyway, you will get half of it. The other half will go to our club's foundation. And that's the whole purpose of this. It's a little bit of fun, but also to raise money for our foundation. Tony, do you mind drawing the number today? Well, you're drawing the raffle. Your raffle draws.
I told everybody I sold tickets to someone winning a ticket today. A lot of people are going to be.
So if you get drawn, if your number gets drawn, hopefully it's not mine, but the last three numbers are 762. 762. Woo, Kathy Wall. So she gets to draw. If she draws the ace of spades, she gets half the pot. If she draws any other card, then that's her souvenir for the day. That card will be pulled out of the deck so the odds increase each week.
Okay. I know it is. Ace of spades. Is that an ace of spades? No. Sorry.
10 of hearts. Thank you for participating. All right, let's move on real quick. It is that time. Nolan Duck is our chair of the day, and he is going to introduce our speaker. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, President Jeff. There was a man who was walking by a cemetery, and there was a tombstone that he noticed. It's a large tombstone, and on that tombstone he saw an inscription, and it said this: "As you are now, so once was I. As I am now, you are sure to be. So may I say, as now I lie, prepare yourself to follow me." Well, that really bothered this guy. He couldn't get his mind around that, and so he happened to have a piece of chalk, and he went up and he inscribed the following on that tombstone: "To follow you, I'm not content until I know which way you went." You know, that underscores the importance of choices. We have choices that we have to make, choices to be involved in legacy of leadership, for instance, choices to be involved in groups and organizations like the Rotary Club, people that you identify with, the people that you end up loving and doing life with. Well, I made a pretty significant choice a couple of months ago. I met Tony Jeary on June the 29th of this year. I made a good decision to go to the Association of Mergers and Acquisition Advisors breakfast. And so I got there, and I didn't really know what to expect. I'd been receiving these emails about Tony Jeary, and I needed to be there, so I thought, okay, I'll go. Now, in person, when I met Tony, well, I wasn't all that impressed. After all, he's not much to look at. But I thought, well, I'll hear what he has to say. And as he started speaking, he started talking about clarity. He started talking about focus. He started talking about execution. And I thought to myself, I really needed to hear this. After the breakfast, I went up to Tony and I asked him how much it would cost for him to be my coach. And after I picked myself off the floor, he followed up with this statement. He said, you know, Nolan, I don't want to be your coach. I want you to be my partner. And I thought that was a good idea. And in partnering with him and learning, getting to know him better and better, I've found someone who is pretty much the epitome of a servant leader. Someone who gives a lot more than he receives. Someone who is ready, willing, and able to genuinely express his concern for the people around him and do the things that are necessary to help that person become all they need to be. His servant leadership is an inspiration to me and to many others, and I believe Tony can help me and, as a matter of fact, help this club become more than we have been in the past. I think he can help make a difference as we touch people in our community where we find them. Now, I hope you find Tony's message to be inspirational and that it will help you. But more importantly, I hope that his message will help the Rotary Club of Park Cities become even better than we are. We're already, in my opinion, humble opinion, the best Rotary Club in the state. But at the same time, we need clarity, focus, and execution. Clarity of purpose, focus on our priorities so that we might execute our vision and accomplish the things that we really stand for. So, after a brief video that's about to be shown, I want you to give Tony a hearty welcome as he steps up to the stage. Show the video. Welcome, Tony Jeary, the results guy.
How's everybody doing? Fantastic. Do we have a clicker? Clicker, beautiful, excellent pickle. Man, so happy to be here, Nolan. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Yeah, he's exactly right. When I started understanding who Nolan was, I said, wow, this is somebody I needed to be part of my life, right, Nolan? And like we talk like every day, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Glad to be here. I'm going to take about, was it 1 hour? How long did I go, Nate?
27 minutes.
I got 27 minutes, all right. I'm going to do my best to share in the next 27 minutes, similar to what I shared when I first met Nolan, the message of the book that's on your table. If you want to grab that book for a minute, please. That book there is my 44th book. I published 76 books to date, and I really believe books can go where you can't go and stay longer than you can stay. A lot of people really like books, and some people probably need to like books more, according to me. Daniel, my protege and partner, is the person that heads up our publishing company, and we do publish strategic books. That means books not just to sell, but books that can change lives and change businesses. If you want to take a few notes, I'd like to encourage you to do that. If you'd like to take a few pictures, I noticed a few of you already taking pictures of slides. You're welcome to do that. There's probably going to be a few things that show up on the slide you might want to take your camera to take a picture of and maybe share with a colleague or maybe share with a spouse. This book was written intentionally to be about 60% business and about 40% personal. So the message I'm going to share with you today is going to cover both sides, both personal and professional. The book is made up, if you want to look over on the back, it's made up of 21 lessons divided into 7 different modules. Obviously, in my 25 minutes left, I'm not going to be able to cover all that. So Daniel and I and Joseph prepared a short version of a few of the highlights that would include, again, what Nolan liked so much when I first was introduced to him. The center of this book is based upon my second bestseller. Of all the books that I've written, I've only had 2 bestsellers. The second one is called Strategic Acceleration, and the essence of that book was written by the guy that was behind Zig Ziglar. So Zig Ziglar became a partner of mine. I was the only person to ever co-author with him. We co-authored on a book that I wrote, my first book called Inspiring the Audience. Anybody a Zig fan? Zig Ziglar fan? And we wrote a course, a video course based on that book. His president ended up becoming my president after I begged him for 10 years after he left being Zig's president. And he called up many of our clients back in 2006 and asked why people were flying in to meet with me. And in essence, they said, Tony helps people get more clear and more focused and execute. So God's really blessed me with the ability to organize. So let me bring that to life to you today. I'd like to show another video. This is about a 60-second video of a guy that didn't have real clarity. Let's see if it's going to play here. Let's see if we can click it. Now, this is a guy that had a vision, but he didn't have all the ingredients together. See what you think of this.
Hi there. This is All-Seer.
Hey, All-Seer.
I just was experimenting with fireworks.
He's experimenting.
For Halloween. And I think I've perfected the mixture with sulfur. And I'm using some potassium.
Charlotte, what do you think?
Magnesium.
Isn't that a good idea?
So I'm going to light this. And
Kathy, you ready for this?
For a little bit.
You ready?
I've got this protective cloth down here.
Jimmy, ready?
Actually, I think I'll turn the light out so it shows up better.
Nate, you're up there close. Get ready. He's going to turn the lights on. Ready? Here we go.
Let's try this out here.
Everybody ready? Charlie, you ready? Now listen what he says. Ready?
Holy smokes.
Listen.
A little too much magnesium, I guess. I won't do that again. Sorry about that.
So maybe he was clear on his vision, but he wasn't focused on the ingredients as good as he could be. Anyway, to start off with a bang, I'll show you that. We work out of the Results Center. I'm partners with Jack First. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hicks Muse First. Jack First had been my partner. We started a church together 22 years ago, and he and I built the Results Center over in Lakeside, right over by Grapevine. And what we do is we help people strategize with clarity, focus, and execution. I want to bring that to life for you today. Here we go. Let's click on more. One more. There we go. To start, over the years, I failed to give this perspective. This is a 90-second perspective on how you get the most out of hearing a speaker, reading a book, or watching a video. When you hear a speaker, watch a video, or read a book, okay, you're going to get perspectives, right? So if you have someone, and you guys here have a speaker every week, is that right? And many of you have been part of this club for years and years, and you've heard many speakers, right, Charlotte? And they give you perspectives, and sometimes those perspectives are inspiring and valuable. Agree? Everybody say yes. Real loud. Everybody say yes. Yes. Sometimes they apply it to you, and that's called an angle, where they have the ability to convert it to your life so you're not having to take their idea and convert it to you. That's even better. Would you agree? Yes. What makes it even better, though, Sean, is this, is if they give you an aha or they give you an epiphany. So what I like to do is when I write my books, I produce our videos, or Daniel produces them, or we give a talk, we look for giving an aha or an epiphany so it becomes really valuable for the use of your time. So you're giving me 25 or 30 minutes of your time today, right? And I want to do my best to give you an aha or an epiphany. Sound good? Yes. And it could be clarity, focus, and execution, or there could be a sub-piece. So we've really combed our list. So here's one that it could be it. And you might want to write this one down. How many of you, when you think of time, use the word spend? How do I spend my time? Can I see a show of hands? And then the other choice would be, how do I invest my time? Anybody use that? Okay, a few people. So an epiphany could be that you don't want to spend time, you want to invest time because it's so precious. Would you agree? So again, a lot of people have the habit in their mind, I'm going to spend time, and two of the most important things, in my opinion, besides going to heaven, two of the most important things are your time and your health. And I've written books on both of them, and today I'm going to talk more on the time side. When I speak around the world, I've spoken in 50-something countries, only about 1 out of 20 people can answer this question. So based on the population, my opinion is going to be about 4 of you can answer the question today. You ready? Without calculating, how many hours are in a week? Raise your hand if you know. All right, I got 3 people, 4. So we got 4 people in the whole room that know that. So we all have the same amount of hours in a week. We go through life and we're working our to-do list to produce. Is that true? And most people don't know how many hours in a week. So my perspective that you might want to take a picture of is that there's 168 hours in a week. That's a good thing to know. Should we sleep? Everybody say yes. Yes. And research shows today to be ideal for most people, how many hours a night? 8. So if you take 8 times 7, that's going to be 56, right? So we have to sleep, or we should sleep. Now, for years, I made a mistake and could cheat it. I'm a very motivated guy, and I would motivate myself to get by on 5 and 6 hours. What I didn't realize until I understood how the body worked is I wasn't resetting my hormones, so I wasn't always operating at peak performance. I believe science today is correct, and you need to have good sleep. Could be an aha for you if you were trying to cheat sleep like I did. Should you take a shower? Perfect. Thank you for laughing. Sean. Was that Sean? Yeah, Sean. I didn't tell everybody, Daniel, that I pay people to laugh at my jokes. Did I tell everybody? So here's how it works. How many of you got dollar bills so far? Can you show your hands? So if you laugh at my jokes, I pay you money. So Sean, thank you for laughing, right? You already paid me. There's a dollar, right? And were you laughing too, Barb?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Because sometimes when you tell a joke and people don't laugh, you go, should I just laugh out of sorrow or just like out of pity? And I accept pity laughs, right? If you like feel sorry for me and you laugh, so I'll pay you if you laugh. Were you laughing, Richard? Laughing. Well, you're kind of funny. You get $2, right? All right, thanks for listening. All right, here we go. Am I back on the stump? They told me to stay on the stump so that those that are in the audience and looking in by camera can make sure that I'm showing you. Okay, so let's go to sleep. So I just put in 12 hours for taking a shower, getting dressed, combing your hair, brushing your teeth, right? And I just call it maintenance. So when you take the 12 minus the 56, what do you end up with? The number's 100. And for most people, you take about half of that and you invest it in your professional life, and the other half is in your personal life. Everybody agree? And so you might want to take a picture of this. So how you invest that 100 hours really does matter of the type of life you produce. The type of kids, the type of marriage, the type of health, the type of impact that you make serving others. So there's my perspective on time. Could be an epiphany for some people. I think most people don't take time as serious as they could be. Chuck Jarvie, a former president of Dr. Pepper 7-Up, and a friend of mine met Willie Nelson years ago, and he was working across in the boardroom from me, and he said, Tony, I met Willie Nelson last week, and Willie told me that he shoots par golf. And I was thinking, Cleve, that he's telling a joke. So I'm looking at him, and he comes back to him, and he says, no, I really did meet Willie. And Willie tells me he owns his own ranch, and on his own ranch, he has his own golf course, therefore he sets his own par. How about that? So I ask you, like I asked Nolan, what is your par when it comes to clarity, focus, and execution? Like, how clear are you on where you're going in the next 6 months, this next year, the next 5 years? Nolan and I started getting more clear in the next 10 years, right? And incredible things have happened in the last 60 days. Would you agree? Clarity pulls us towards what we want, and most people aren't as clear as they could be. How many of you believe in goal setting? And would you agree that most people don't set goals to the level they could? So that, in essence, is being more clear. And then the next one is focus, and I think focus is a big deal. I think we should focus more on thinking. I believe in today's world, results are rewarded in business. Do you agree? You get results, the world rewards you. What I believe is most people don't think as much as they should. And in fact, Zig Ziglar's thinker was Jim Norman, my former president, and he became my thinker, and he encouraged me to help other people think. That could be a takeaway for you today. If you're not taking the time to think seriously about your values and how what you're doing every day tied to your values, could be a takeaway. I wrote a whole chapter on it, okay? Next one. Strategic acceleration means the right results faster, not just results faster for the results. What's right for you? What's right for your business? That's what I help people do. Results matter in this fast-paced world. This is the the most impactful video my company has ever produced. We produce this internally. It's a 3-minute video. I know I'm burning 3 minutes of my precious time with you today. See if you like this video. It's called Life is Fast. Get ready. Check this out. Amazon, watch this. Ready? Ten minutes. Ready? Boom. The video's a year old, by the way. Watch this on YouTube. Again, the video's a year old. Over a year. This is powerful. Watch this one. Steve Jobs, ready? Change music, movies, television, and now the funny one's coming. Get ready. In Japan. Pretty good, huh? Been to Tokyo lately? Half. Can't live without your phone. The bottom line, agree? Life is fast. All right, talk to your neighbor for 30 seconds about the video, please. 30 seconds, talk to your neighbor. What do you think? Yeah, you like the video?
Very nice.
Yeah. Says a lot in a short amount of time, right?
The question is, do people actually take the time?
Most people don't. It's my opinion. They don't. They need to. Okay, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Okay, focus back to the front or to the screen, either way, please. All right, go ahead and click one more if you would. There we go. This is life today, social media, right? It's a big part of our life. Life is fast. How about these? Speed matters today, and I'm proposing that the speed of life changes our actions, and we must really get on the right side of speed. If you don't step back and think in this fast-paced world, this is who you become. You can be persistent, and you can win at being persistent. You can be a lot more if you have more clarity, you focus better, and execute. You guys agree? And it's not that you're bad if you do that. It's just you could be better. And I would propose this. You guys have been part of, how long's Rotary been here in Dallas? How long's this club been? So you can sit there and say, are we there? Are we thinking ahead and being proactive, right? Looking for the future. Okay, here we go. So as I mentioned, strategic acceleration is at the center of the book that I've given you. Life is fast and we must deal with it. The methodology that's in the book came from the very fortunate opportunity. I've been able to work with the president of Firestone, the president of TGI Fridays, Ricky Richardson, Fred Sievert, the president of New York Life, the president of Walmart, the president of Ford Gym, the president of Samsung, Mr. Kim, And we wrote this little booklet based on my inputs from all these presidents that I got to coach over the years. And we sent it to 5,000 people, and the U.S. Senate brought me to Washington to help the Senate. Now, they paid me, but they didn't listen. Imagine that. But it was a good experience, and I got motivated, so I decided before my president passed away, he told me, take this message to the world, and that's what I'm doing today. I remember the very first time I gave the message I'm giving you today, while he was alive, he sat in the back of the room, and he said, Tony, you hadn't got it down. And I was like, Jim, come on. He's like, because I've been presenting for a long time. I've written more books and presentations than anybody in the world. I've written 27 books. And I thought it was pretty good, but he was like, no, I remember the very first day. And he says, take this message to the world. I remember today, that day, that he's like, Tony, you really haven't got it down, but one day you'll get it down. Deliver the message to the world, clarity, focus, and execution. So here's the three key words, and you might want to think about this for a minute. Clarity, if you ask yourself today, right now, today, on a 1 to 10 basis, how clear are you on where you're going with your company or yourself in the next 12 months? On a 1 to 10 basis, what would your number be? You want to write a number down? Write it down. You want to tell your neighbor? Tell your neighbor. 1 to 10, how clear are you on the next 12 months of your life? Throw some numbers out. Yell a number out. Where are you at?
6.
5 or 6, 7, 8? 8, okay. All right, the next one. The next one is something interesting. You haven't probably seen this before. LLAs are called low leverage activities. And most people invest or spend about 20 hours a week or more in low leverage activities because they have not gotten tight on what their high leverage activities are. No one says, Tony, I'd like to have lunch with you. I'm a nice guy. I like to serve. I could say, yes, I'll have lunch with you. Or I could say, no one, what are you thinking? And no one says, hey, you know Daniel? And I go, of course, Daniel and I are like partners. He goes, I'd like to have lunch with you to talk about you connecting me to Daniel. I say, no one. Since we're partners, I could just email connect you. No one says to himself, I really didn't have time to have lunch with you anyway. I just wanted to connect me to Daniel. So I said no to what he asked, but I gave him what he asked for. In the book, we talk about strategically saying no. Most people go through life and have never studied how to say no to people and still give them what they want. Would you agree? Probably a lesson worth thinking about, right? Most people, that includes most of you in here, have never studied strategically saying no. I'd encourage you to read the book and see if you like that lesson. The last one is execution, and that's really accountable action. We need to all do that with our personal lives and our business lives. Let me go to my last point here. So we're going to close on the second point here, clarity, focus, and execution. Here's my last point. Beliefs. This could be any of us in the audience today or on the screen. This is you on the left. This is the world on the right. It's called the belief window. It's not my model. It's one of my most favorite models to share. And between you and the world is a window. And we all make decisions based upon the principles on our window. The red dots represent principles. Where do we start getting our principles? From our, in most cases, your parents. Would you agree? And then in most cases, going there, you go to the teachers next. You're 3 years old, 4 years old, teachers start to influence you. Kids start to influence you. Your friends start to influence you. Would you agree? And now all of us as adults are doing life the best we can based on principles on our window. Now watch the screen for a minute. Some of us, in fact all of us, have principles on our window that are incorrect. My mom taught me to drink a lot of orange juice and I got fat. And she died obese. And she didn't understand about glycemic index, sugar content, and what orange juice does for you. And I'm drinking gallons of it because I'm thinking vitamin C, that's going to be great. So I had a blind spot. My mom gave me, and my mom was an incredible lady, gave me a lot of great things, but occasionally she gave me some things that were not accurate. We want to go through life and uncover blind spots. When you see the FedEx truck, do you see the serving spoon in the logo? Most people don't. This logo has been around since 1991 for 31 years. And most people don't understand there's two things in there that a guy named Leader built into it. He built in a serving spoon and an arrow. Serving fast is what FedEx is all about. And every time you see the FedEx, I'd like you to think about this luncheon in my talk here today. All of us have blind spots and don't even see what's in front of us. As I go into closure here, I'm going to close in just a couple minutes. As I go into closure, I wrote a whole book about the idea of getting good advice. If you get good advice, do you make better decisions? Everybody agree? So the book I wrote was called Advice Matters, and I wrote it with my business mentor. His name is Jay Rogers. And he's been impacting my life for 10 years, including connecting me to this young man back here to become my protege. Jay's quite an incredible man. One of the things he told me, he said, Tony, if you want to have good advice, you need to take advice from people that are doing what you want to do or have done it. Not just have learned it. Like, are they living it? Have they done it? And he gave 6 things in the book with me. You might want to take a picture of this. Most people don't have a mentor. And those that do only have one. I have about 15. Mentors are people that are past your age in most cases or more experienced, and they pour into you. How many of you have a mentor? How many would like to have your kids see you more as a mentor, right? Like, mentorship is so powerful, and yet most people have it as a blind spot. They don't take it seriously. Again, I have about 15. I have people that have poured into me raising exceptional kids. I closed my offices around the world to work out of my backyard for 20 years because one of my mentors said, you can't have incredible kids if you're flying around the world like you're doing it. So I shut it down and had people come to me for 20 years. Now I have the Results Center. My kids are adults. They're happy teachers and graphic artists, and they are incredible because I took the time. Maybe if I didn't have mentors, I would have not deployed that thinking. Should you have a coach? No one came to me and said, hey, I want you to be my coach. I've had the same coach for 35 years. I've been paying a guy for 35 years to pour into my life. If you don't have a coach, let me encourage you to think about that. Should you trust each other as colleagues and part of the Rotary and get insights from each other? The answer is yes. You want to have trusted colleagues. Should you have a paid advisor like a CPA or that can give you insight on the IRS code? Like, most of you probably don't go home tonight and read the IRS code for dinner, do you? Like, the 3.9 million words, I think I'm going to read the IRS code. What's going on with the 179? Right? Do you do that, John? Now, you might, though, in your business, but most people don't. Would you agree? So you pay people that know things that you don't know. I'm almost closing. Resources are books and videos, and I encourage people to read more. Obviously, being in the book business, I want you to read more. My wife says every time I write a new book, you going to sell this one or give it away? I'm like, wow, that's pretty nice of you, sweetheart. I like to give my impact away. Okay, and the last one, self. You can't see your own mistakes oftentimes. However, you can see your own patterns. If your patterns are working, double down on them. If your patterns aren't, you might need to make a change. All right, in closure, our beliefs impact our results. I'd like to end with a final video. Here's my final video. Should we cheer people on that are around us more? Should we send a text to our kids? Should we send a card? I encourage you, this is my closing thought. It's so impactful if you appreciate and cheer people on. This is a 42-second video that will stick in your mind forever. You ready? This is a guy that's taking seriously his job as a leader, and he is leading these people and cheering into their world.
Oh, you're not just gonna walk away and give up.
Stuck it.
You can get that. That's yours. Nobody else. Get in there and give it some heat. Give it some heat. Give it some heat. Get in there. You get it. You go in there and you go get it hard. You get it. You get it. Get it. That's the one right there. You get it. Yes. All right. Yeah, baby.
So cheering works. Here we go. Let's stay connected. Lessons from the studio or something on my internet. I give a 90-second briefing after after what I learned that month. If you're interested in that, you can go on my website. If you'd like me to autograph a book, the books are a gift. If you'd like to take a separate book for someone that's close to you, I'd be glad to autograph it for them. The summary book is a small book. You can enjoy that. You can reach me at info@Tony.Jeary. I have cool webinars. And if you want to exchange a business card at the end, I'd be glad to do that. Thank you guys for letting me be here. Okay, 2 questions. Yeah, is this the tough questions? I don't know. Yeah, stump the speaker. All right. Stump the speaker. Who's got a question? Anybody? I'll give you $1 for a good question. $2 if it's really impactful. All right. Charlotte, yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. In the book I've given you, I believe it's on page 59, there's a list of 60 values. Most people have never done a values tournament with themselves to be really clear on what they value. And I believe as a leader or as a person, if you're more clear on your values, then you can build your life in alignment with what you value. If you value health, then ask yourself, are you working out, eating right? You say, I value health, but are you living it? 50. Page 50 I'm in. This version is 50. So we have different versions of the book. Thank you, Daniel. So I'm suggesting to everybody, if you've never done that, page 50, and it's powerful to do with your spouse if you're married, or your kids if you have kids, and if you're a leader, to do it with your team. Know what your people value.
Tony, how do you balance when you want to achieve a goal, balance between the thinking and planning stage versus the execution? Sometimes you can get lost in the thinking stage.
In the, what's the first word?
In the thinking stage, or strategizing what you want to do.
So it's Nate, right?
Nate, yeah.
So I think my answer to the question is, when you're thinking, you want to put together the plan for your life and your business. That's the thinking. And then you want to say, what do I want to double down on? In the book, we talk about two things that you might want to make a note on. One is a force multiplier. And in business, what are the 6 or 8 things that's going to make your business thrive? Not 27. What's the 6 or 8? You might like 10, you might like 5. And then in your personal life is your high leverage activities. So how do you invest your time the best you can? So knowing what your 5 or 7 major things you should be doing with your time personally, and what your force multipliers are, would help you execute more effectively. And in the book, we reveal that. Good? Okay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Hey, Tony?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to put place a book in the McShann Elementary Library.
Oh, that's a good idea.
For
Good idea.
speaking. We
Good
really
idea.
appreciate it. And when we're done, can we get a picture with you and Nolan and I over here?
Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it. Okay. Thank you, guys. Love to shake your hands at the end.
Outstanding. Thanks, Nolan, for bringing Tony in today. Next week, bring your golf friends to the meeting.
Golf clubs?
Golf friends. Golf friends. Mark Harrison is the executive of the PGA up in Frisco, and he is going to talk to us about everything that's going on up there. It's an amazing program that they've got, two new championship golf courses, but he's going to talk about inspiring the future of golf. Next up will be Sean Foster leading us in the 4-way test.
Please join me in the please join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?